Okay, show of hands. Has anyone here ever been lost? Now, I don't mean literally, but emotionally. Have you ever felt lost? I know that I have, and I can bet that it's probably most people. For me, it was in middle school. At that time, I bet you guys would have taken one glance at me and assumed I was one of the happiest kids around. Amazing family, a student at a fantastic school, and a bright future. And yet, I was totally lost, and I attribute that to really one thing. I didn't know myself. I felt disconnected and isolated from my peers. I kept comparing myself to others around me and just generally feeling lesser than all of the time. Eventually, it started impacting my grades and my school got involved. When I learned I was going to have to see a counselor, I was pretty ticked off. I really didn't want to accept help, especially about my personal life, and I definitely didn't want to at a grand old 13 years old. But after a few sessions, I had found a way to find myself, philosophy. Now, you may have just heard me say philosophy and you think I'm going to throw a bunch of horrible, opaque academic language at you, but I promise, just stick with me and you'll see where I'm taking this. So, my counselor encouraged me to read, and through reading, I found Stoicism. In short, Stoicism it's a way of thinking that works to emphasize good feelings and control negative ones. Now, I don't want to stand up here and convince you all to become Stoics. To be frank, I really don't expect many of you to look into philosophy at all. What I want to do is talk about really a few key tenets that I live by, what they've done for me, and what they might be able to do for you. Because for a large part of my childhood, I was unhappy, and I couldn't get out of that rut alone. But after I accepted help, I found the tools that helped me get here today. Above all else, even if it isn't the tools that I present to you all, I encourage you all to find your own tools to be happy. Now, my personal school of thought has three major components that I picked up that helped me the most. First, I had to understand that almost nothing is in my control. Every day we encounter these slight annoyances that can just build up and ruin our day. Things like traffic, annoying parents, and even restaurant orders coming out wrong. Really what I learned were really more specifically that it wasn't traffic that was ruining my day, it was my reaction to the traffic. I would sit on the road on the highway and I would be frustrated at all the cars on the road. But I really had to understand that my day wasn't being ruined by all the cars on the road, but how I reacted to the traffic. Because ultimately, everybody on the road is just trying to get home to their families, and there's no reason for me to be mad at people just trying to live their lives. So then really, what can we control? And this brings us to the second tenet of my personal philosophy, judgment. Now that I had understood that I had almost no control over the world around me, I needed to learn what I could control. And I learned from the Stoics that there are two major things that you can, and that's your own character and your own reactions. Okay, another show of hands. Has anyone here ever had an order brought out wrong at a restaurant? Yeah, everybody, right? Now consider how it made you feel. Probably annoyed, perhaps angry, maybe even sad, I would get a little sad. When I was little, I absolutely despised tomatoes, lettuce, pickles, onions, anything on my hamburger other than cheese and ketchup. Really just cheese. Really just ketchup, not much of a cheese guy. And then I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. Even today, I'm pretty much still, I'm a pepper jack, I'm a bacon guy, I'm a ketchup guy, that's about it. And I'm not a lettuce guy, I hate onions. But where I probably used to throw a fit when those things were brought out on my burger, now I can step back and think, getting that stuff wasn't a personal slight against me made by the cook, but just a mistake. So I really don't have a reason to be upset. Because while I can't control the actions of others, I can control my own character and how I react to that inconvenience. And now for the last bit that was really the hardest for me to understand. I had to understand that virtue or character is the only thing necessary for happiness. Material possessions certainly don't hurt, but I really needed to learn that to be happy, it has to come from inside. I remember one Christmas, I really wanted a PlayStation 4. I would come home from school and talk about it every day, but after I got it, I certainly enjoyed it, but I felt sort of empty. I thought the game console would make me happier, and it certainly did on Christmas Day when I got it, but in the long term, I was no better off than before I had it. So let's refocus and sum up what I've covered. First, I learned that I could barely control anything in my life, and then that the only thing I could control was my own character. And then finally, that character, or that virtue, was the only thing I needed to be happy. And if the only thing I can control is my own virtue, and virtue is the only thing I need to be happy, then really the only thing I can control is my own happiness. And thus, in just 3 steps, I finally had the tools to be happy. For me, it took somebody else to notice the rut I was in and accidentally send me on really the introspective journey of a lifetime. Thankfully, I had those people in my life that helped me to get where I am. And I encourage you all to find those people in your life. Find who you can lean on and never let go. Here's something I want you all to think about. Are you truly, truly happy? Maybe you are, and that's great. Maybe you love philosophy, or maybe you don't care about it at all. Please continue to be happy. But if you aren't, let this be the start of your own journey. Philosophy was a wonderful tool that helped me grab the reins of my life at a very pivotal time and led me to be the man that I am today. And if there's one piece of advice that I can leave you all today, it's to take action. Take accountability for your own life. Find the tools, the ways of thinking, and the people which can help you to be happy. Because everyone deserves happiness. Most just don't have the tools to